Bem-vindos a mais um Encontros de Inglês. Esse é o nosso 8º Encontros de Inglês, mas dessa vez a gente está numa apresentação especial com a SerformanceP, que é uma mostra de artes internacional, a Mostra de Performance Internacional em São Paulo. Eu sou um dos curadores da Mostra Internacional, ao lado do Ismael Trabuco. For those who speak English, I will just switch to English in a while. I'm just introducing in Portuguese, which is the language here in Brazil, to the followers of this page, but I will switch to English in a bit. A SerformanceP, então, para vocês que falam português, nesse momento, é essa Mostra Internacional de Performances em São Paulo. A gente vai abrir essa mostra no dia 3, sexta-feira, 6 horas da tarde, na Casa do Povo, que é um centro cultural bem bacana, que fica ali no Bom Retiro. A gente, aliás, agradece aqui à Casa do Povo pela abertura em receber a mostra. No sábado, a gente vai para o Anhangabaú, que acabou de ser reformado, os performances presenciais que estarão no Brasil, ou estarão em São Paulo, porque tem performances de fora do Brasil e tem performers de fora de São Paulo que virão aqui à cidade. Eles ocuparão ali o Vale do Anhangabaú com performances presenciais, e no domingo, dia 5, a gente só vai ter performers lives. Então eu peço para vocês que acompanhem as nossas redes, procure aí SerformanceP no Google, você vai encontrar nosso site, você vai encontrar nosso YouTube, você vai encontrar nosso Instagram. Fique ligado, porque a mostra está bem, bem bacana. E hoje a gente vai falar com uma das performers que foram selecionadas. O nome dela é Deborah Leiser-Moore. Deborah, please correct my pronunciation later if I'm misspelling your name. O nome dela é Deborah Leiser-Moore. Ela é uma das mais experientes performers que foram selecionadas esse ano. É uma diretora da companhia Tashmadada, uma companhia australiana. Já já eu chamo ela aqui na tela para falar com a gente. Só dizer também que no final a gente vai ter a participação de um dos estudantes de inglês, do Encontros de Inglês, interagindo com a Débora ao vivo. So for those who speak, eu vou mudar para inglês agora, então se você fala português, fica com a gente, tenta entender, tenta ir compreendendo, é para isso que a gente faz os encontros de inglês mesmo. Não foge, reconheça o seu sotaque brasileiro falando inglês, se acostume com isso e vamos embora. So for those who speak English, my name is Isaac Trabuco. I am one of the curators of SerformanceP, which is the international performance exhibition in São Paulo. São Paulo is the main or the biggest city in Brazil. We are very honored and very excited to host the 5th edition of the event, and we have the great pleasure to have Deborah Leiser-Moore as one of our selected artists. She's here with us tonight or today because she's in Melbourne, which is night, and I'm in São Paulo, which is day. So without further ado, let's call her to the screen. Hello, Deborah.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, okay. I was trying to listen to you, and I'm getting a little bit of feedback. That was all.
Oh, yeah, it's been an echo or something. Like
I can't. It's echoed myself, just so you know. Yeah.
Okay. Just yourself or myself too?
Yourself too. Yeah.
Maybe you should try to. I can try to disconnect my earplug. I'll just try it. Let me try it. Better now?
Okay.
I unplugged my earplug. Is it better? Not really.
No, sorry.
No, that's fine. I don't know what's happening.
No.
Do you think it's possible to talk?
Yeah, I'm getting double of you and double of me, but we'll try. We'll keep going.
We'll try. I'll try to do really, really slowly, and we can do the best as we can. I'm so sorry. Technology is,
I know. I know. Well, we're very far away.
Yes. So I really want to thank you for taking part of this project. As I said, I really want to start a connection with Tashmadada and your work for this edition on, because I was reading about your work and it's really exciting how you get um, traditional or classical texts and you give it a contemporary feeling. I'm talking specifically about Medea and Kaddish for the children. But
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, but even the Unhoused has a twist on the mainly discussed and homelessness, because you talk specifically about women unhoused, and so it's really interesting how you, and it's art, right, and how you twist these topics. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. I do try to, I'm very interested in my work to talk about contemporary issues, you know, like what's happening in the world today. It's very hard because I'm getting an echo. I'm hearing myself. Maybe, should I take my headphones off maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe you can try it. Maybe it works.
Maybe. Okay. Should I take my headphones off maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe you can try it. Maybe it works.
Yeah, the technology. I'm not quite sure. So in my work, I'm interested in contemporary issues and how we express it through the different languages of performance. So I'm not just interested in the text and vocal and oral expression, because I believe that communication and theatre and performance should be a visceral experience. And this is, the audience should feel and experience what I'm trying to do. So with Medea, for instance, I think the idea of Medea, the issues that Medea deals with are very relevant for today, which is why I was really interested in that piece. Because Medea really was a refugee. Medea had to deal with many coming into a culture that she knew nothing about. And because she was the other, you know, she was treated in a certain way. And I had this belief that basically we never have heard Medea's side of the story. So in Medea, Kaddish for the Children, I was really wanting to take the story from her perspective.
Very good.
And the reason why it's Kaddish for the Children, so pretty much most of my work, I take a also personal perspective, and I come from a Jewish background, and Kaddish is the prayer, the prayer of mourning. And she never had a chance to mourn her children or mourn her situation. So that was the basis of that piece. That was the idea, the thematic thrust behind it.
Very good. Shall we play the trailer? I think it's good to play the trailer.
Okay, that'd be great.
Oops.
Oh, that's unhoused, yeah.
They can hear us while the trailer is played, so you can you can make comments if you want to about the trailer.
They can't hear us?
Medea's time has finally come.
We've taken 2,500 years.
There should be no female sex with that man's rig. Oh, there.
Our power now. They've put us down for long enough.
Wow. Wow. So I think you had to do physical preparation for this.
Yeah, all my work is very physical, I have to say. I have quite a long sort of physical training, trained with Tadashi Suzuki. So yes, but especially my partner who does the rowing machine. Mm-hmm. So that was 1 year of physical training every day on that rowing machine, because essentially throughout the whole show, he rows a lot. Most of the show he is rowing.
You know, so, when I first read about Medea Kaddish for the Children, and when I just saw the trailer, something sparked to me, which is the connection between a couple. You know, this dynamic of couples. And I was wondering if, of course, it's not specifically the main topic of your play. Your play is very complex and rich in layers. But this layer also sparked to me. And I wish you could talk about it, because I like to investigate the relationship between people and the intimate relationship between people. And I think there is this dynamic between this Jason and Medea. So if you can offer some comments about this dynamic of Jason and Medea.
Yeah, absolutely. So the two of us are partners in life, and we wanted to juxtapose our personal relationship and Jason and Medea, there is a strong passion there and a love, which is why, you know, the story unfolds, because essentially there was this strong passion. Yes, there was all these beliefs that maybe Medea put spells on him, but essentially there is a strong love, which is why she changed her life, why she moved, you know, to his world, and why in the end he took over. I'm not saying that our relationship was like that, but we did want to bring the meta in. We wanted to bring this sort of sense of who we are. You know, as I said earlier, the idea is that in the work, I love to bring the personal. In all my work, it's like that. Like, who am I in there? Because it's not. I don't believe controversially in acting. I never believe in that. I believe in performance. And and I always get this kind of
it's awesome.
Shocks when people say that. When I say that to people, but I'm there. I am me. Who am I? And what can I bring? Even if I'm playing a character, I'm still myself playing it. So we took that to the extreme with this, with Medea Kaddish for the Children. We really brought us in there. Yeah, Richard and myself, Medea and Jason, and we explored that level. Like myself as a Jewish woman, Richard's not Jewish. We try to find there's a lot of rituals and rituals, I guess, connected with my culture that aren't related to his culture. So that has created the differences that you see that are in the relationship between Jason and Medea. So we found those strings, we eke them out and we place them in the work. And as I said, we place them in work in many ways, sort of the big mound of wood chips, which, has this beautiful smell, and she digs in there, and, the death, and that's, I very much relate to that in my religion. The cooking, we cook a lot, and the herbs. I mean, in the piece, when you see it, I mean, I spend a lot of time chopping up rosemary, and different herbs, and it's almost like this idea of the Jewish rituals, and it's the Medea and it's also about women. I wanted to take that to the extreme. Women cooking, women giving. And so we start to play with the relationships, the cultural differences, what brings them together, and also the gender, the relationships between the gender.
And so of course this is art, but I really love that you don't believe in acting, you believe in performance. So you're doing something on stage, and I believe that this action, this performance, has reflections or impacts on your life off stage.
Oh, not really. I believe when I'm performing that it's really about then. So I can go off and it doesn't necessarily affect my everyday life, even though I don't believe in acting, because what I don't believe about acting is it creates a boundary and an inauthentic performance. To me, I believe in authenticity of the moment of the performance, because that's a relationship between you and the audience. And it's unique every time you perform, even though you're performing the same show, it's unique in that moment, in that particular performance. And then once you're off, then I'm myself. It's different. I'm myself both times, but it's, I don't let it affect my everyday life, even though I don't believe in acting, because acting to me is just, as I said before, it's playing at instead of embodying.
Very good, very good. I want to write everything that you're saying. I love this embodiment. So my work, I'm not full-time performer. I don't know if this exists, but I'm not a full-time professional performer. But I do performance once in a while, and when I do that, I like to do that in the public space environment. I like to go to the city, and I like to practice my presence in the environment with something that is off patterns. So I just like to put myself in situations that I wouldn't do regularly, but I wish I could, or I wish I want to do more. So it's something that I do to start a new presence in the world. And you have a brilliant work, and you have a really, really interesting investigation on something about our cities. And I wish we could bring you here, because São Paulo has this problem, and I'm talking now about unhoused. We have this problem of homelessness here, and your work on women that are unhoused really resonates with our urban environment here. And I know it's on stage, but it's not only on stage. So if you want to, or if you allow me, I would like to play the trailer, and then we can talk about it a little bit. Okay?
Absolutely. Yep, sure.
Let's do that.
Dead on, thank God for the salvos homeless. Alone, without belief. my life will be unbelievable.
So there is Unhoused, and then Voices of Southside. So I think we're talking about Melbourne here, right?
Yeah. The voices of the Southside were the group of women where we sourced who were performing in the show. So all these women in this show actually aren't performers. They've done some things before, but basically they have all experienced homelessness. So the idea, and they're all older women. So the show is about the experiences of older homeless women. So I'm working with people who have actually experienced that. And all these women were sourced, except for a couple, from this group called Voices of the Southside, which is a very local organisation which gives creative projects to people who live on the fringes of society, a lot of them who have been homeless. And so these women came from there. Yeah, so they are also very local to this area of St Kilda, where which is on the bay, as we're saying. It has quite a very big population of unhoused or homeless people, and you see them on streets. A lot of services for homeless people. Yeah, so that's what these women are, and that's what the Voices of Southside are.
And Melbourne, related to Sydney, you said it's a more traditional, maybe more conservative than the general Australian cities, right? Can we say that Melbourne is more conservative?
I would say so. Yeah, Melbourne is definitely probably more conservative. It's a very different culture than Sydney. Sydney is very beach culture. A lot of travellers go to Sydney, much warmer. While Melbourne has more of a, because it's colder, and, you know, things happen in the cafes. Theatre is very big here, the visual arts. It likes to think of itself as the cultural capital of Australia. You know, yeah, they're very, very different cultures. Absolutely.
Yeah, so to give a little bit of context, I'm just showing here the map of Australia, and we have Sydney here, and we have Melbourne right here in the Victoria state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this beautiful bay, and it's really interesting because maps in general don't show the contradictions of the territory. So I'd say that this area, as I was mentioning before, would be richer, but you're saying that even though it's richer, it has some problems with homelessness. So these contradictions in city are something that you are working with as well.
Yeah. So the Sydney, yeah, it's interesting. Sydney, yeah, it's quite different. Like there's the bay. Actually, I can show you St Kilda. If you go, oh, I'm going to point to it, but see what it says Brighton there, right on the bay. If you go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go further in, you'll get to St Kilda, which is where I am. But we want St Kilda, which is, let me see if you go. Yeah. And well, in St Kilda is where these women are from in particular, and it was very, very local about these women, and that's where a lot of the, you know, famously homeless, a lot of homelessness and a lot of services for homelessness. Yeah. And with the show, I'll just give you a little bit about the show. I worked with these women for a good year before, running workshops with them about the nature of presence. And also with the music's really important. So I worked with this wonderful composer, Nella Trifkovic, and together we gave the women physical workshops, performance workshops, vocal workshops. And one of the performers, Kath, she also did writing workshops, and we got the stories out of them. And with that, we took it all together. And then, I have the thing of stripping it back and creating the visual and theatrical environment that I then invite the audience into. One of the most important things about the work was, the women said, we don't want it to be a pity party. The idea wasn't necessarily to sink the audience into the sense of, oh, the poor women living in this. No, it was about these women are older. These women are here. So our mantra really was, I am here, which is what the last big image you see in the show is. I am here and I have my dignity. In a way, they are survivors, because actually most of them now are housed. The other thing is we wanted the audience to have an experience of the homelessness. As I said, same with the Medea, and pretty much same with all of my work, is to give the audience a visceral experience of that world. And especially with this piece, with Unhoused, of the world of homelessness. So, for instance, things are done in almost real time. Like I wanted to give the audience a sense of time, because a big part of the homelessness these women talked about was you don't know how long you're going to be there. You don't know when it's going to end. So that sense of, things take time. So audience come in, the women are breathing, which has to do with life and death, but it goes on for a long time. I wasn't going to let the audience off in, oh, well, we finished with that, because these women, they're not let go. They're not allowed to let go, because they don't know how long that's going to go in their life. And then the things about, recreating their life there. Like, so we had this little toy car, and the woman, with dignity takes out, a little tray, eats and takes time eating. And the audience spend time with her doing that. And the same with the showering. The shower is a really big part of being homeless. Like all of them talked about, how am I going to shower? And so 3 of the women go to the shower, but the woman who actually has time in the shower, she spends time. It's in real time, while actually all the other women actually are taking off bits of their clothing, because that's, how do you take it off without other people seeing you? Because that can be dangerous. And at the same time, while she's in the shower, she can clean her clothes. So all these things are in the show. And the other thing we talked a lot about in making this work is about the show is very still. It's very specific. So all my work is very specific. Like I really believe in stillness and specificity and the importance of that. And in this work, it is very, very still. And the women are very focused, and then taking the audience's view, like as in a film, to where we want them to go. So, they take the audience to the woman in the car, or, we play around a lot with that, or to the woman with the doll, who is the story of the doll, which is just about her unwrapping it, and then we get to see it on the visuals. So it is really playing with focus and lines of attention, in a way, in a filmic way.
We have this work of, it started in New York. It's called Humans of New York, I think. And
oh, yeah.
It's really interesting how the photographer takes pictures of regular people.
It's beautiful, that work, isn't it?
Yeah, I really love that. And in São Paulo, we have São Paulo Invisible São Paulo, which focused on homeless people. And the photographer goes there and takes pictures of them and writes a narrative about a story that this particular character told. And he also works with fundraising to improve their lives. And I can see a parallel with these works with because you said that these women could achieve a house, so they're now housed. And maybe your company played a role in these achievements, or I don't know.
We didn't try to play a role in getting them homes, but one wonderful thing that all the women talk about is not necessarily feeling empowered, but in a way finding themselves through the work, through the empowerment through the work, and finding that some of them were so much more confident from when we first started. So it gave them something, and now actually a lot of them are going and helping. They already were, but in more ways are going actually helping other people, especially women, finding homes, dealing with services, and it's really wonderful. And we're really quite close. It's become like an ensemble. Like, I love these women. These women are extraordinary women. I have learned a lot from them, to tell you the truth. And I'm really happy to say, so this work has toured a little bit, but I'm happy to say that we've actually are working on a new work as well, which will be starting off at the end of this year. So now they're very excited because we have now a new work that will take probably a year to do, and we'll perform it second half of next year maybe. But it's really bonded. There's a real bond and trust between everybody in the ensemble, which is just wonderful.
Yeah, I can feel you. You were talking about this, and I'm feeling like this warmth, this, it's really good. I would give you like many hearts if I could. Please, if you're watching this, just press the hearts for me. It's really beautiful work. Yeah, sometimes, of course, they need house. Of course, I'm not trying to say that they don't. They do need houses, but sometimes these necessities, these needs are not always focused. And I heard about a story on Haiti, and we don't know. We don't need to tell how Haiti is in need of assistance right now. And there is a guy. There's a guy who said there is an institution. I forgot the name, but they just work offering papers to the properties, and they don't work with food. They don't work with money. They just work with bureaucracy. And they say that when they get this paper, they kind of develop themselves because they feel more safe. So sometimes it's not giving stuff, it's helping out with what's more in need in this particular situation. And I think you touched the need of this woman right precisely.
Yeah I think that's right. I mean, it's all about community and human relationships and trust, and that is really core of once you have that, then you have confidence, and it gives you a place in life, a place in the world. And I think it's true. I mean, bureaucracy is one thing, of course, to kind of go through, and obviously what you need, but I think you can be very lonely with everything. One of the women said to me, was quite interesting, during the COVID time now, a lot of, one thing Australia did was put a lot of the homeless people into homes and really house them. It was quite great. But a lot of them were by themselves all of a sudden in these little apartments all by themselves. And they said to me that a few of the people they know felt very uncomfortable and very lonely all of a sudden. Just, okay, they had a house over their, roof over their head, they had all that, but they lost their community on the street. They lost the human contact. So it was really, it was really interesting. And I think it's, sure, they had to do it because of the COVID, and sure, it was wonderful that they had a place to sleep, but they lost the human contact. They lost their community.
But they can build a different, or I don't know. It's interesting to follow up with them to see how this story will develop.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think you're right. I think what everyone talked about, these women, because as I said, I learned a lot from them because I had never been in that situation. But they said what's really important is long-term housing, because then it gives you a sense of place. So the problem, I think, is about, well, they give you temporary. And one of the women, for instance, there's this really, in St Kilda, just down the road from me, there was this very famous rooming place called the Gatwick. Very, very famous, and very good and bad things happened there. But she got there and she said some of the she was told often not to go out of her room. So she had to leave a marriage. She was a grandmother when she left her marriage, but, you know, she spent a lot of time with physical abuse and had to leave. But don't go, she said, don't go out your room, because a lot of the people who are in these places are men. Firstly, there are very few women. And secondly, some of them are there because, you know, they have abused women. So she felt very scared, you know, and that was to do with the temporary accommodation, unfortunately. And there aren't many women in these places. So, and that is actually also one of the problems, say, with women's homelessness, is that we often don't see it, because women's homelessness is often hidden because women are much more vulnerable. And if on the streets, they're much more vulnerable. So a lot of them couch surfing, living in their cars or hidden away. And it's a big problem, yeah. But the long-term housing, I think, from what I got from them, that's the key. So.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So, guys, if you're watching this, you can see that Deborah has a really meaningful impact on her community of Melbourne. She's working with feminists. She's working with reviewing, reimagining some classical approaches we have to certain topics. First, we discussed about the classical myth of Medea and how she was a demon, and here she's like trying to understand the reasons to this to the horror this woman faced in her story. And then we talked about the homelessness, but specifically about the women that are homelessness in Melbourne. So it's really interesting. I think we're learning so much about your work, Deborah.
Thanks. Yeah, because the thing is, I believe in the power of performance to reach people. I really do believe that, especially with, say, for instance, homelessness, you hear a lot about it on the TV or the media, but people just close off. Or things to do with women's issues, like to do with, with Medea, the Medea piece. There's so much that people read, but people close off because they don't want to hear about it. But the power, and that's why I love the style of visual, visceral performance, because to me, that will reach people inside and they will remain with them. They'll feel it rather than just listen to it. It's not just academic. It's, it's an experience. And I'm very passionate, as you can tell, about that and communicating these things via the languages of performance and making a beautiful, like that kind of beautiful experience and an important experience. So I'm really, I'm very dogmatic, I should say, in how I work. I'm very specific, and I really care about every moment. So I've revealed that about myself now.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned beauty. Beauty is important. For me, beauty is important. It's not superficial. For me, beauty is important. And beauty and senses as well. Smell, tactile, and hearing, listening, looking. Yeah, very interesting. And we have a guest here today. He is an English student, and he is one of the participants of a project we have here in Brazil called Encontros de Inglês, which can be translated to English meetings. It's a space where students in general can practice English without fear of accent, without fear of not clearly communicating in the beginning. Because in Brazil, we have this sense, maybe in other countries, but in Brazil specifically, we have this sense that English is the language of other. And I loved when he said that Medea is about this otherness. So we have this sense of English isn't something that we can appropriate. It's something more to the rich countries in general, to white people, or to people who are rich, and so on and so forth. And this Encontros de Inglês is a space where everybody can appropriate English and be familiarized with the accents. For instance, my really strong accent of Brazilian accent it isn't a problem in general. Yeah. So here I try to help these students to overcome their
Nice.
fears and just
Wonderful.
appropriate, the English and tell their stories to the world. We have here
Fantastic.
today Flavio, and he has a story for you. I'd like you to introduce him to you. Flavio?
Sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you, Flavio.
Can you hear us,
Good night.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah.
Good evening. Nice, it is.
Good evening. Yes. In Brazil, it's morning. Hi, Deborah. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm. It is nighttime here, Flavio, and it's. I know you're waking up, having your coffees. We're ready to go to bed almost.
Yes.
Saturday night.
My name is Flávio. Né? I live in São Paulo, Brazil. I live with my sister, Karina, and my dog, Joca, my cat, Aisha, and my sister's cat, Dandara and Gal. More pets.
Lots of pets.
Yes. I lived in Jardim Ângela, São Paulo. I was a violent place in the 80s. The people only tell a single story about the danger of living there. The violence is real, but also there are culture and sports, community support, and so on. I psychologist. Yes. I like music, running, bike, and travel the beach. In Brazil, the beach is beautiful. And in Australia.
Wow. Well, yeah.
The beach in Australia is beautiful too.
It's really beautiful. Yeah. I think in Brazil, like you said, it's very beautiful. Yeah. But in Australia, also on the East Coast, some of the beach, like we're a very big country like you, so it's very different. Where I am, where we have the bay, it's not as beautiful as the sides where the beach is incredibly beautiful and the weather is lovely. And we have the dolphins and the whales sometimes and sharks, lots of sharks. But I think it must be sort of similar to Brazil in this way. I really want to come to Brazil and I want to see, but is it similar? I think it must be similar maybe.
The weather is similar, no?
Yeah, and the beach and things, I think must be similar. Yeah.
Okay.
So could you understand, Deborah, about Jardim Ângela? Jardim Ângela is a neighborhood.
Yeah, I was thinking Saint was very dangerous. Is that right? There's a lot of violence. Is that what you were saying?
Flavio, can you hear us?
In the 80s, is that correct?
Yeah, in the 80s it was dangerous, and people just tell a single story about this place. But he said that there is other stuff about it. Oh, no, he's back. No, he's
I'm
back.
sorry,
And he's a
the
psychologist.
connection.
No, that's fine. So you're saying you're a psychologist, right, Flavio?
I got that you were a psychologist. Yeah, I got that. I know. I think I I understood what you said. Your English is very good. Yeah. And that you, a psychologist, you live with your sister and many pets. I got it. And you talked about the danger in the 80s. Oh, I think I understood. I mean, English was good.
Yes. I worked in my clinical and my home. The pandemic is necessary.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah, you're working for home.
Because of the pandemic, you have to stay home now? Is that right? Yeah. Same here.
Yes.
We here in Melbourne, actually most of Australia is locked down. We can't go out.
Yes.
And Melbourne, we have a curfew. We can't go after 9 p.m. We can't go out till 5 a.m. They're very strict, even though we have, very few cases compared, I think, to Brazil. It's very bad, the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. It's way worse than Australia.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Your work. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just thinking about you're allowed to go out and way worse. Yeah.
The bars are open. The restaurants are open.
Really?
Yes.
I think it's an inconsequence, but we can talk about it later.
Yeah, we can talk about it later. Yeah, that's right. We can go open, close, that's what happens. Yeah, we'll chat about it later. Agree.
Your work was more afetado? Impacted the pandemic, no?
Affected?
Yes. Your work.
Yeah, affected by the pandemic. Yeah, definitely. So, had 2 shows I was going to be part of was cancelled, and I had some international touring was cancelled over last year and this year. Yeah, has been very affected. But I have been teaching. I teach theatre and I teach in like a film audio school. So I'm teaching online. Right. I did go to campus for a bit, but we got back lockdowns. So I can keep teaching online, and the students have to make their films and everything online. So that's what we have to do. But yeah, has been affected. But I keep doing, and we keep trying to get our work out. Even, lucky we filmed. I've been a big believer in filming all my shows in the past, like the 2 shows that will be at the festival, and editing them. So we give, even through the film, to try and give the viewer of the film an experience of the show. Like I'll try to give them a live experience. So we have been managing to get that out. So this show, Unhoused, has been in Cairo last year. It was just in a theatre in Melbourne last week, and now in Brazil. So it's not the same, of course, but it, it's what I do. So I can't go do anything. I'm too old to go and do anything else now. Anyway, I love what I do, but yeah, absolutely affected. But I'm hoping next year there'll be many things, because everything is delayed until next year. So next year will be busy, hopefully.
I hope so.
I hope so, yeah. Me too, yeah. But, I believe, people talk about the change after the pandemic, but I do believe that, if you're a maker, a creator, in whatever your work is, you just keep doing it, no matter what. And sometimes, and I say this to my students actually, sometimes when things are, theatre and creativity is often about solving problems. And I think sometimes, if you're a creator, then, okay, this is another problem. How do I still make my work, in these conditions? So that's what I believe, that's still the same sensibility as always. The world hasn't changed that much. It's the same sensibility. If you want to make work, or if you're a psychologist, that's what you do, So you just do.
How is your work, Flavio, after the pandemic? You have the same clients, or you have more clients now?
the people is more anxiety, depression, conflitos, não me veio.
Conflicts.
Conflicts. The family,
because they need to live together, right?
Yes. After pandemic, I am more work.
Yeah.
You're working more.
Yeah. I think psychologists during the pandemic are much busier, have more work, for sure. Yeah. Mental illness has gone up, depression up, everywhere, I think. Here too, yeah.
Yes.
It's just tough, yeah. Yeah. But it's great, Isaac, you're able to do the festival still. It's fantastic. Huh?
Yeah, as I said, people here are, the government here are reopening because our curve is going down like quickly.
Yeah.
Because of the vaccination. We have like around 30% of population already fully vaccinated, and the curve is like going down. But it's too early, you know. Everybody knows it's too early, but it's this contradiction between economy and health, and
of course, so, same here. Yeah, it's a tough decision.
Here it's a tough decision.
Yeah. But I still think it's wonderful that you can do it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's just 20 people. Everybody wearing masks and it's really.
Oh yeah, they're wearing masks. Yeah. Same. Yeah. So it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So
in Brazil, the politics problems was the pandemic.
I think the world has a politician problem.
Yes, but Brazil is more problem.
It's worse.
Okay.
Actually, I agree with you.
I know a little bit about Brazil. I have, Okay.
We have to agree with it. Yeah, we have to agree. But there is a perspective, right? There is a perspective of getting better and getting worse, of course. But we have to focus on getting better. So, any final remarks you would like to talk, Flavio? Like any final words you want to say?
No, I want to say thank you for having me on this. It's been so wonderful talking and to meet you. Well, as we finally met, and to meet you, Flavio. Yeah. And thank you for having me in the festival. And I wish I could be there. Is my main thing to see. But no, really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, your participation in the Disponible. Welcome to Brazil.
Thank you. I will come.
After pandemic.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I would like also to thank you, Deborah, for your participation, and I will take pictures of your work being screened. I will try to send you
wonderful.
this picture, and
thank you.
To see people watching to this amazing work you've been doing. Flavio, thank you so much also for the courage, for being brave to be here live and explain it your English. And
thank you, Isaac.
No, that's fine, please. And thank you all that are watching and seeing this live performance from Deborah, which is really beautiful privilege. Thank you so much, Deborah. and in
Thanks.
Portuguese now. Muito obrigado para vocês que acompanharam até aqui, e principalmente para você que não fala inglês e ficou e se acostumou com o sotaque brasileiro. A gente, como eu estava dizendo, a gente vai abrir a SerformanceP 6 horas da tarde de sexta-feira na Casa do Povo, que fica na rua 3 Rios, aqui em São Paulo. A gente já aproveita para agradecer à Casa do Povo por essa disponibilidade. SerformanceP 5, SerformanceP 5. That's it. Bye.
Bye.